Hi there, students. To collate and to conflate. Okay, these two words are very similar, but they're clearly different. To collate means to collect together, to put in order. If you collated two texts, slightly different meaning now, you would look at the two of them and you would compare them and look where they differ and note the differences, note where they disagree. To conflate, if you conflated two texts, to conflate is to bring together into one thing, to fuse together, to meld. So if you conflated two texts, you would put them together into one story. So you could conflate different versions of the same story to make one story. So, for example, he collated the versions of the story, he collected them together, and he compared the differences between them. He conflated the two versions of the story, he combined them together to make one story. Okay, so effectively to collate means to examine and look at the differences. Collate also has more meanings, I'll get to that in a second. To conflate means to take two or more things and make them into one. Okay, to collate we very often use to mean to collect together in numerical order. So, for example, in a police station, very often they have a person called a collator, who is a person who puts all of the evidence and all of the crimes that have been committed and all of the information together on one database. They collect it together and they put it in order so that you can reference different things. But if the collator starts conflating evidence and past histories, they are combining them, so you have things by various different people. Okay, in printing as well, we use this verb to collate. So, for example, you print the pages of a book, so 1,000 of each page, and then you need to put the pages together in individual books, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. If you are collating, you are checking that all of the pages are in the right order, they're the right way up, and there's nothing missing. And this is to collate. So you could collate information. You put it together in a database so that you can search this database in different ways. Collate comes from Latin, collatus, which is the past participle of the verb confere, like confer, meaning to bring together. To conflate means to blow together, flare, blow, and that's Latin as well. I need to look at some other meanings of conflate as well. We use conflate to mean to confuse the two things, to bring them together. So, in the film, I watched this film and several of the characters looked very similar, and afterwards my mind conflated them all into one character. Okay, you can also use nowadays this verb to conflate, meaning to confuse one thing or another. It's a more modern meaning that's gaining ground. So, it's difficult to conflate apples and pears, to fail to distinguish between them. Yeah? Or maybe a mandarin or a clementine, these little oranges, is a conflation of various different citruses put together. Okay, so I want you not to conflate these two words, not to fail to distinguish between them and think they are just one word. Okay, so to conflate, to combine into one, or to fail to distinguish between two different things, to confuse one for the other. I conflated him for his twin brother, although they are slightly different. Maybe I should collate all the small differences between them, write a list of, so that I will be able to tell the difference and not conflate them, confuse them in the future. Notice both collate and conflate are regular verbs. He collated the information. He conflated the two texts. Now, formality. I think collate is a reasonably formal word, maybe 6.5, even 7 in formality. I need to collate all the information, collect together. And conflate, I think, is even more formal. I give conflate maybe an 8 or even an 8.5 in formality. I think collate is a word native speakers use. Conflate is much rarer. So I think both of these you should use in semi-formal or very formal circumstances. So to collate, informally, how would I say it? Yeah, to sort out, to order, to collect together. Whereas conflate, to fuse, to meld together, to mix together, or to mix up, to confuse. Yeah, different meanings. So to collate information, or to collate two texts, to look at the differences and maybe to put the things in order. To conflate, you take two different things, particularly two texts, and bring them into one, particularly if they're two variants of the same story. So I think many traditional stories are a conflation of Aesop stories, of Indian stories, of different stories from around the world, and they've ended up conflated as a traditional story. So, collate and conflate. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Collate, conflate.